All right, so this is, let's see, reflective analysis decision 7, the persistent decision. I will persist without exception. And um, well, just to get into it, persistence for me is the ability to not give up in hard situations or hard circumstances. I think that persistence can be perceived as a lot of different things, but to me, it's just the mental ability to not give up. Persistence is not something that we can just that somebody wakes up with or somebody gets or doesn't have. Like, everyone can be persistent in their own way, shape, or form, and it's something that you can grow and become. Persistence is huge, especially in the world today, being very competitive. I think that persistence is probably one of the biggest things in life that we need to have. Not being a quitter, not being one to back down when consequences come. But like I said, I believe that persistence is just the ability to not give up, and to face trials head on, and to know that you're going to struggle, but to continue on anyways. I know that insanity is, or the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I think that the difference between insanity and persistence is that persistence, you can see the end in sight, and insanity, you can't. Persistence is also adaptable and is something that we can, like I said, change and become. And it can be adapted in every situation. It just depends on what the situation is or how we face it or go forward with it. Looking back, just at a time looking at these questions, a challenge or a time that maybe I feel like I gave up too soon, was when I was younger. I actually learned to play the piano. I played from the time I was like 8 to probably about 13 or 14 ish. So I played for a little while, but I was never fully involved or fully excited about the idea of playing the piano. I thought that it was lame and dumb, and I thought that it was just a waste of time, and I didn't want to practice, and I didn't want to go to lessons, and I didn't want to do all those little things to make me better at it. Anyways, then after I decided that I wanted to quit, I quit in high school, and then I went a couple years without taking it, and then I went on a mission. And when I got to my mission, there was a huge need for piano players, and it was something that kind of dawned on me that I had made the wrong decision in stopping, because I wasn't as good as I wanted to be, and I wasn't able to help out in a lot of different ways. And so I think that if I was a little bit more persistent, I would have been able to fully help a little bit more and fully help others. And I think that was a time when maybe I gave up a little bit too soon, and I didn't continue to persist or be persistent. Persistence is also something that can be a drive and can kind of be an attitude. I know that there's those people that say never give up, and you've seen like those cat posters like never give up and stuff. And I think there's a difference between saying that you're persistent and actually being persistent. I know that this chapter was with Abraham Lincoln, and for him, he went through a lot of trials, and he even ended up dying in the end. And I think that was just one of the many things that he went through in his life, but he continued to be persistent because he knew that what he was doing was right, and what he was trying to become, or what he was trying to help the nation to become, was worth more than what he was dealing with at the time. And I think that we can look at a lot of those characters or historical figures in the book and say the same thing about them. We can say the same thing about Anne Frank and her situation, her being very persistent, not wanting to give up or quit or to fail, to be captured in the end. Although, well, I guess one good thing to mention and to note is that we will fail at times. Kind of just going over like persistence with Abraham Lincoln, like I said, he was shot and killed, and we know that Anne Frank, she was finally found and captured. And not saying that you're just going to achieve everything if you're persistent, but it will help you to have hope and kind of give you the drive that you need to push forward in your life and for those around you. I think that it's a really good leadership quality because it helps others to know that you have hope, and you know that you can accomplish something, and so it gives people more of a drive and a reason to be around and a reason to be excited about the things that are going on around you. I think persistence is huge, especially now. For me personally, I think that it's big because I have a lot of things that are coming up that are going to be a little bit harder for me to try and accomplish or to try to do. I'm going to be doing summer sales, and although I like talking to people and I'm not bad at it, I think the idea of going up to people's doors and knocking on them and trying to sell them something is a little bit more scary to me. And I think that's something that I'm going to have to push through and try and work for the better good, because I know that in the end that if I do push and I try to make it to where I need to be or where I want to be, my goals that I've set for myself, I know that I'll be able to make some money and be able to provide for me and my future wife. So there's little things like that that are going to be hard, and I know that marriage and stuff will be difficult, like trying to learn how to manage finances with two people, or trying to figure out where we're going to live and rent and school next year and coming back to wrestle. There's a lot of things that are just going to be challenges. If I look at it in the bigger picture, they're going to be challenges, but one thing that this book taught me is that those challenges can be turned into opportunities, and I think that there's a lot of great opportunities for me coming up these next couple months to prove my persistence to myself and to prove that I'm worthy to achieve what I want to. And I think that something that's really awesome about persistence is that you can actually see yourself grow, and you can choose to be persistent. And I think that that's something that's kind of defined me as a person. I'm not usually one to quit or give up. And I think that this is something that I want to continue to push for the rest of my life. I know that it's super important to be persistent in everything that we do. And I know that it'll help not only ourselves, but those around us to also have that drive and desire to do the same. There was one last question that I liked. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of already went over it, but how will adopting the mindset help you navigate future challenges and opportunities? Like I said, you got to start now. If you start now and decide that you're going to be a persistent person and decide that you're not going to quit when things get hard, I think that opportunities will come and you'll look at them and you'll hit them head on. And I don't think that you're going to worry about what's going to happen in the end. And I don't think that you're going to worry about failure, because persistent people fail, but it's not what defines them. And I think that that's something that I would like to do in my life and something that I would like to become.